Lamar Jackson made the plays when he needed. But the explosive plays that we seen from the Baltimore Ravens today was when Lamar Jackson was getting outside the pocket, whether it was with his legs or with his arm, making plays. And you're exactly right. This is the MVP, Lamar Jackson, we are used to seeing. And thank God he came back in this game, because the Ravens would have lost this one.
All right, JJ, 2 weeks in a row, we have seen the Ravens get back to the read option, the power run game, Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson with the sleight of hand. Their offensive line, we know it's banged up, but they seem to be finding a little bit of an identity right now. Are they in the type of position which you see playing this thing out where they can get into the playoffs? Again, they probably need the Dolphins to lose at least one game. Dolphins got a rough schedule, but just talk about the Ravens and the way they are playing offensively.
Well, first off, anybody who watched this football game tonight that's in this AFC playoff picture right now, they looking and saying, boy, please don't let us play the Baltimore Ravens, because we all see that the Baltimore Ravens have it going right now. This run game cannot be stopped. Lamar Jackson, Gus, these boys is running the air out of the football, and they're getting back to what they do best, Steve, and this is what they do best. Don't try to do nothing tricky. Don't get outside yourself. Be the Baltimore Ravens. Do what Lamar Jackson does special. You got two very good running backs, and they can't be stopped. They ran the ball down the Cowboys' throat. They came out here, ran the ball down a very good Browns defense. Listen, this team is catching fire at the right time, and it's not too many teams that want to see the Baltimore Ravens catching fire at the right time, because it is going to be trouble in the playoffs. But I think they are going to punch their ticket the way they are playing right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of why they're playing well is, I mean, think about it. I mean, a few weeks ago, most of their team was on COVID. I mean, they weren't even cleared to play. And so they played that game. They got embarrassed. Actually, they didn't even embarrassed. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers and played them tough. But then I realized after that, I was like, man, anybody they play after that game and you had a chance to watch the Baltimore Ravens play, you had the feeling that they were going to do something special. At least I did, because I felt like watching that game and understanding how they get a chance to see the game from a different perspective, and now they'll finally get to play it. Their guys are healthy now, man, and they're doing everything the right way. And Lamar Jackson is being very efficient. Andrews is balling right now. Marquise Brown had a few drops, but he made up for it at that fourth down play. And their defense, man, the defense is good enough. I mean, the Browns' offense, I mean, kudos to them, man. You know, you got a team that's putting up 40 points on you. You got to give them credit, man. But this is a division game. It's always going to be a tough one. And right now, the Ravens are looking at a real good scenario as they go down the stretch. And the teams they have to play, they don't play a lot of great teams down the stretch, so they should be okay.
Okay, so let's take it to Cleveland right now. TD, you already said they played hard. They've got nothing to hang their heads on. And I'm glad you said that, because people are going to say they got the signature win against the Titans. Oh, they play another team in Baltimore that's now beaten them 3 times. They're not a real team. I think we can dissuade that right now. Other than what Baker Mayfield, what you saw, what do you think the Browns did on either side of the ball? Well, they got lit up on defense, but offensively, that you think is going to keep them in contention the rest of the way?
I mean, Steve, they put up 42 points on the board. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? I mean, listen, I always ask myself this question. What would the coach say to us if we walked off the field and put 42 points on the board as an offense? Nothing. Listen, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, they are capable of scoring points. And you see what Kareem Hunt, and you see what they were able to do with Chubb. I mean, their backfield is phenomenal. You know, obviously they need maybe one more playmaker. Landry was out there balling today, making plays. People-Jones was making some plays out there. But, I mean, Steve, I can't point to really anything to say that the Browns need to really work on this. Obviously, from a defensive standpoint, we have Myles Garrett, and the defense, they had some spurts in the game where they were playing extremely well. But you playing Lamar Jackson, he's playing like that. You can have 12 people on the field, and if you don't keep him in the pocket, it is difficult to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
You're right, TD, and I'm looking at this Browns offense. If this Browns offense can do what they did the last 2 weeks, you got to believe that this defense is going to play some football, and they're going to be able to make some plays down the stretch. But from the offensive standpoint, for you to do what you did to Tennessee and then come out and do what you did to the Baltimore Ravens defense, this offense has it going right now, man. Coach Stefanski has Baker Mayfield and this offense clicking. Baker looks comfortable. I mean, like I said before earlier in the show, he's getting outside the pocket, making some plays. plays. I mean, the play action pass is there. I mean, he is spinning the ball around to Higgins, Peoples-Jones, Landry. They have it going right now. And obviously, you have the two-headed monster in the backfield. But you're right. If you walked up to the Cleveland Browns defense and you're Baker Mayfield and you said, hey, Myles Garrett, I'm going to put up 42 tonight. All right, Myles Garrett would have said, all right, well, we're going to win by 21 then if you're going to put up 42. Defense had a bad night, but offense, hey, yeah, it's going to be one or two plays you wish you had back. The interception, hurt you. But other than that, hey, keep doing what you're doing. You played your tail off. Guys made plays. It just happens. You run into Lamar Jackson. He made a couple more plays than you did tonight.
Well, guys, look at some of the young quarterback play we've seen over the last two games from Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Lamar Jackson. It is going to be a fantastic finish. And, gentlemen, we'll catch up a little bit later. But speaking of Lamar Jackson, Monday Night Football's Lisa Salters caught up with the reigning MVP.
Lamar, how would you describe this one?
A dogfight. Like I said in production, Cleveland is a great team. We beat them early in the season, but, they had to switch, and they came out here to play. It was a tough fighting game between two tough teams in the AFC, and we just came out with a victory.
How much did you have left in the tank in that last drive to set up that field goal?
I had everything in me. I got back to myself. I was cramping. I got back right, and that's all help to the doctors and Kev, our trainer. We just came out the victory.
What was happening back when you were in the locker room?
I was cramping. And I had to get some IVs in me for the cold, and we came out the victory.
Now, were you able to see the game? Did you know what was happening when you were back there getting IV?
I was trying to come back. I was stretching. Kev was walking with me, talking to me. I was getting ticked off because I seen, what was going our way. The guys came back for the Browns, made a tremendous play, scored a touchdown, and then I seen my guy Chase Money go down. And I was already coming back on the field. I got ticked off, and there it was.
So you came back out in the field. It's 4th and 5. The game is on the line. What are you thinking then?
We got to get it. We got to get it. We put too much into this game, and coming back from COVID and stuff like that, we can't see each other how we want to. We just had to come out with the victory, man.
Lamar, what does this victory say about your team?
We tough. We finished the game finally, and we just got to keep stacking.
If Trace McSorley had not gotten hurt, would you have come out?
I was still coming out no matter what. It was crunch time. It's going to go home for us right now. We got to keep it going.
Thanks, Lamar. Congratulations on the win.
Appreciate you, Miss Lisa.
And here are tonight's Bridgestone clutch performers for your fantasy lineup. Of course, Lamar Jackson, 34.9 points. Baker Mayfield got it done. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Look at all that Browns offense. And, there's Rashard Higgins as well. For more on this, let's bring in Fantasy Live's Marcus Grant. Marcus, when you saw Lamar Jackson come in, we were expecting a lot. But, he gave it to us on the ground in the first half and through the air late. What about that performance?
It was the kind of performance that folks who drafted Lamar Jackson were expecting. This was shades of 2019 Lamar Jackson. This is the reason he was the second quarterback off the board in a lot of fantasy leagues, why people were drafting him in the 3rd or 4th round. And he hadn't done that consistently, had kind of been in a slump, but he showed why people really were counting on him in their fantasy league. So if you survived this long, if you made it to the fantasy playoffs with Lamar Jackson, he turned it up, and he is giving you the kind of performance you were expecting at exactly the right time.
Okay, and then let's go to the Cleveland side of things. Nick Chubb got it done on the ground. Kareem Hunt also got it done. What about Nick Chubb's performance tonight? Because he got in the end zone a couple times.
He did get in the end zone. And Nick Chubb has been maybe the most consistent running back, or one of the most consistent running backs in fantasy all season long. He got you over 100 yards, as you mentioned, got the 2 touchdowns. He missed the stretch in the middle of the season, obviously because of injury. But I think you look at what he has done and how the Browns use him in that offense, and I really do think we'll be talking about Nick Chubb as a top 5 fantasy draft pick next season.
Wow, but what about the split carries with Hunt? Because you saw Hunt a lot more in the second half than it looked like we saw Chubb.
This might be the only backfield in the NFL